Hi everyone, and welcome to this week's edition of Cannabis News Dabs with Jimmy Young, reporting for the Pro Cannabis Media Group and ProCannabisMedia.com. We review dozens of stories about the cannabis movement from around the world and pick a few of them to share with you. Our lead story today is a sobering one out of Louisiana. One of the biggest arguments by cannabis advocates is that no one has ever died from having too much THC in their system. That, of course, is the intoxicating chemical in the cannabis sativa plant. Well, now there is one, and it happened in February in Louisiana when a 39-year-old woman was found dead on her couch in Laplace, Louisiana. Multiple autopsies were conducted, and there is now a recorded medical history of death by cannabis. This report is already under attack by many toxicologists and cannabis experts who claim that there was only trace amounts of THC found in the dead woman, certainly not enough to cause death. It was reported that there was 8.4 nanograms of THC found in her system. For those of you out there who are metrically challenged, 8.4 nanograms is 0.0000084 milligrams. And that means even hemp was more powerful, because hemp has to have under 0.3% THC so it won't get you high. No wonder this woman's coroner is coming under attack for her 15 minutes of fame. Keep in mind that there have been 3 million deaths by alcohol around the world on average over the past 4 years. Back here in Massachusetts, the 20th adult use cannabis dispensary has opened in Marlborough on Route 20 as Garden Remedies now opens its third location behind Newton, Melrose, and in Marlborough. Checking the Mass State Adult Use Sales Tote Board for the week ending June 4th, and there are no figures for last week's sales. They haven't been released yet on this Monday, but since there was a record set last week of just over $9 million sold, the total since adult use sales began back in November of 2018 is now up to $139 million. Well, we are welcoming a new content partner to the Pro Cannabis Media Group. It's Cannabis.net, a one-stop website for all things cannabis centered right here in Massachusetts. Curt Dalton is the CEO of Evergreen Buzz, their parent company, and he's a guest on an upcoming In the Weeds podcast. One of the things we talked about was the descheduling of hemp and CBD by the Department of Agriculture a few weeks ago to open up interstate commerce of hemp in the South. They really did not define exactly what that meant. You know, now they've clarified it a little bit.
So that's Mitch McConnell. He got it passed for the Kentucky
tobacco farmer.
Right, for the hemp people. And what was happening is Kentucky can grow a monster amount of this hemp and cannabis when the time comes. Their truckers were trying to get it out to production facilities, and they were getting arrested. They were getting stopped in other states.
At the state line.
And they were trying to explain how the male hemp plant is different from the female marijuana plant.
Right.
Wasn't going well. So Mitch McConnell actually leaned on the agriculture and said, look, you can't be pulling over my truckers and arresting them. Let's get something done at least. So they did.
And finally tonight, another sign that even conservative doctrine is starting to come around to acceptance of cannabis as a medicinal product anyway. The Church of England investment portfolio is now looking at investing in the medical uses of the cannabis plant. Previously, that ban was for the entire plant. But now the opportunity obviously is just too good for the $16 billion fund. Edward Mason is in charge of the responsible investment for this conservative fund, and he said that they make a distinction between recreational cannabis and medicinal cannabis, and that they continue to be consistent with Christian values. So they don't invest in gambling, tobacco, and pornography, but now they will invest in cannabis sativa for medicinal purposes. Like I've said before, it's a whole new world of weed out there. Learn how to use it responsibly. That's News Dabs for this week. For the Pro Cannabis Media Group and ProCannabisMedia.com, I'm Jimmy Young. There'll be a special edition of News Dabs later this week, reporting on a major rally outside the State House of Massachusetts on Wednesday. Here's some information about that.